As of February 2026, all of the original lead cast members of Sanford and Son, 1972 to 1977, have now passed away. The most recent loss was Demond Wilson, who portrayed the beloved Lamont Sanford and had been the last surviving lead of the series. His passing in early 2026 marked the closing chapter of a show that once defined a generation of television comedy. For millions of fans, Sanford and Son was more than just a sitcom. It was a groundbreaking cultural touchstone filled with sharp wit, unforgettable catchphrases, and the legendary performance of Redd Foxx as Fred Sanford. In this article, we look back at the cast of Sanford and Son, then and now, honoring their lives, their careers. Number 1. Gregory Sierra as Julio Fuentes. In Sanford and Son, Julio Fuentes was the familiar next-door neighbor. But behind that role, Gregory Sierra's real life was marked by hardship, loss, and resilience across a career that spanned nearly 5 decades. Gregory Sierra was born on January 25, 1937, in Manhattan, New York, and grew up in Spanish Harlem, raised by his aunt in difficult family circumstances. After serving in the United States Air Force, he entered acting almost by accident when he accompanied a friend to an audition and unexpectedly earned admission to an acting school himself. He began on stage, touring with the National Shakespeare Company before moving to Los Angeles in the late 1960s to pursue television and film. In 1972, he was cast as Julio Fuentes on Sanford and Son. Julio, the hard-working Puerto Rican neighbor of Fred Sanford, was often the target of sharp humor. Yet Sierra refused to let the character become a stereotype. He brought depth, dignity, and warmth to the role, making Julio memorable for more than comic relief. After Sanford and Son, Sierra continued to make his mark as Detective Chano Amengual on Barney Miller. He also appeared in well-known series such as Miami Vice and The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, as well as films including Papillon and The Towering Inferno. Though never an A-list superstar, he became a respected and recognizable presence, a true working actor who remained active and professional for decades. Behind his steady career were personal tragedies. His second marriage ended in heartbreak when his wife died in 1978. He later married Helene Tabor, who remained by his side for the rest of his life. In his final years, Sierra battled stomach and liver cancer for a long time. He continued acting until 2018, marking the final role in a career that lasted nearly 50 years. He eventually chose to retire when memorizing lines became difficult, a painful decision for someone devoted to acting his entire life. On January 4, 2021, Gregory Sierra passed away in California at the age of 83 after a prolonged fight with stomach and liver cancer. His death marked the end of more than 5 decades of dedication to American television, where he is fondly remembered as Julio Fuentes on Sanford and Son. Number 2. Redd Foxx as Fred G. Sanford. Fred G. Sanford may have seemed like a grumpy old junk dealer, always shouting, scheming, and threatening to have the big one. But underneath the bluster was a mischievous spirit and a surprisingly soft heart. In Sanford and Son, Fred constantly teased his son, Lamont, calling him a big dummy and staging dramatic fake heart attacks whenever things didn't go his way. It was outrageous, theatrical, and absolutely hilarious, yet it always came from a place of love. Fred never held back his opinions. Whether sparring with his quick-witted sister-in-law Esther or arguing with neighbors, he delivered sharp one-liners with fearless confidence. His humor was bold, unapologetic, and often pushed boundaries, something that mirrored Redd Foxx's real-life comedy style. Long before television fame, Foxx built his reputation on the Chitlin circuit during the 1940s and 1950s, becoming a leading figure in blue humor comedy. His risque stand-up routines earned him a loyal following, even when his records were difficult to find in mainstream stores. By the 1960s, his albums gained wider distribution, opening doors to appearances on variety programs like Toast of the Town and The Red Skelton Show. Everything changed in the 1970s when he took on the role of Fred Sanford, inspired by the British sitcom Steptoe and Son. The American adaptation became a massive hit and helped challenge racial stereotypes on primetime television. Although Foxx had public disagreements with producers over creative direction and representation, the show remained one of NBC's top comedies. He departed the series in 1977 to launch his own variety show on ABC, though it lasted less than a year. The 1980s brought financial and legal struggles, including serious issues with the IRS. While some projects faltered, Foxx reminded audiences of his brilliance with roles like the sharp-tongued elder in Harlem Nights, 1989, starring alongside Richard Pryor and Eddie Murphy, a performance that introduced him to a new generation. In 1991, Foxx seemed poised for another comeback with the sitcom The Royal Family. Tragically, he suffered a fatal heart attack during rehearsals in October 1991, in a moment eerily reminiscent of the fake heart attacks that had become his trademark on screen. Red Fox remains a pioneering force in comedy history, a fearless performer who broke racial barriers, redefined television humor, and left behind a legacy that continues to inspire comedians to this day. Number 3. Don Bexley as Bubba Bexley. Bubba Bexley was one of Fred Sanford's closest friends on Sanford and Son, and easily one of the most cheerful faces in the Junkyard Circle. With his booming belly laugh, wide grin, and unforgettable "Hey Fred" greeting, Bubba had a way of lighting up the room, even when Fred was in one of his grumpiest moods. He might not have been the sharpest guy in the bunch, and he was often the punchline of Fred's jokes, but Bubba never seemed to mind. He took every jab in stride, responding with laughter instead of offense. His easygoing nature and loyal friendship made him a steady presence in Fred's world, adding warmth and humor to the show's dynamic. Interestingly, Don Bexley shared the same last name as his character, a rare and memorable coincidence. His portrayal of Bubba made him a familiar face to audiences during the mid-1970s. After the departures of the show's leading stars in 1977, NBC attempted to continue the franchise with a spin-off titled The Sanford Arms, but it struggled to capture the original magic and was canceled after just one season. Beyond Sanford and Son, Bexley appeared in several other television projects, including episodes of the crime drama Hunter and the sitcom True Colors. In 1989, he was honored as Outstanding Senior Citizen of the Year by Support the Artists of America in Orlando, Florida, recognition of both his talent and community involvement. In the 1990s, after relocating to Hampton, Virginia, Bexley remained active in entertainment. He made personal appearances, signed autographs, and continued developing ideas for shows and live performances. One of his final public appearances took place at NASA Langley Research Center's Black History program in February 1997. Don Bexley passed away on April 15, 1997, at the age of 87 due to heart and kidney failure. Though he may not have been the central star of the series, his infectious laugh and loyal on-screen friendship helped make Sanford and Son the beloved classic it remains today. Number 4. Raymond Allen as Uncle Woodrow Woody Anderson. Uncle Woodrow Woody Anderson, Aunt Esther's long-suffering husband on Sanford and Son, was the definition of patience. While Esther's fiery personality often dominated the room, Woody remained calm, gentle, and soft-spoken. He did his best to avoid conflict, especially when it came to sparring with Fred Sanford, and usually found himself stuck in the middle of their hilarious verbal battles. One of Woody's running character traits was his tendency to cope with stress by drinking. It became a comedic element of the show, highlighting how even the kindest and most easygoing individuals have their own imperfect ways of handling life's pressures. Despite the jokes, Woody was portrayed as warm-hearted and well-meaning, making him a quietly lovable presence in the series. Raymond Gilmore Allen became a familiar face on 1970s television thanks to his memorable recurring roles. In addition to playing Uncle Woody, he was widely recognized as Ned the Wino on Good Times and appeared as Mechanic Merle the Earl on Starsky and Hutch. He also reprised his role as Woody in the short-lived spin-off The Sanford Arms. Throughout his career, Allen made guest appearances on popular shows such as The Jeffersons, What's Happening, and The Love Boat, and even appeared in the concert documentary film Watt Stacks. After stepping away from acting in the mid-1980s, with his final screen appearance in the TV movie Gus Brown and Midnight Brewster, Allen remained connected to fans through public events and autograph signings. Unfortunately, due to illness, he was eventually forced into retirement, a decision he openly shared with supporters. Allen was married to Barbara Williams from 1963 to 1977, and together they had 3 children. Though he largely stayed out of the spotlight in his later years, his work continued to bring joy to audiences who remembered his gentle humor. In August 2020, Raymond Allen passed away from a respiratory illness in California at the age of 91. His legacy lives on through the unforgettable characters he brought to life, each filled with warmth, subtle comedy, and heart. Number 5. Demond Wilson as Lamont Sanford. Lamont Sanford was the steady voice of reason in Sanford and Son. While his father Fred thrived on wild schemes and dramatic outbursts, Lamont approached life with logic and responsibility. He believed in working hard, planning ahead, and even accepting help when necessary. Unlike Fred, Lamont wasn't too proud to consider government assistance if it meant improving their situation. Though father and son argued constantly, their bond was undeniable. Lamont often dreamed of a better life beyond the junkyard, always searching for business ideas that could lift the family out of financial struggle. Unfortunately, things rarely went according to plan, much to the audience's amusement. Acting opposite a comedy powerhouse like Red Fox was no small challenge, but Demond Wilson more than held his own. As the straight man to Fred's outrageous humor, Wilson's sharp timing, dry delivery, and grounded performance created the perfect balance. His portrayal of Lamont became the defining role of his career and remains one of television's most memorable son-father dynamics. After the show ended, Wilson's life took a different path. In 1984, he became an ordained minister, dedicating himself to faith-based work and community outreach. He also became an author, writing several Christian books discussing social and spiritual topics, including New Age Millennium, published in 1998, which examined what he viewed as the cultural influence of the New Age movement. In addition, he authored children's books. Wilson has been married to former model Cicely Johnston since May 3, 1974, and together they raised 6 children. He also shared a childhood friendship with Basketball Hall of Fame player Charlie Scott. Demond Wilson passed away on January 30, 2026, at the age of 79. He died at his home in Palm Springs, California, due to complications related to prostate cancer. According to reports from the Desert Sun, Wilson had been battling cancer privately before his passing. Number 6. Lynn Hamilton as Donna Harris. Donna Harris was far more than Fred Sanford's girlfriend on Sanford and Son. She was the steady force that kept the family grounded. As a registered nurse, Donna was naturally caring and compassionate, often stepping in to calm the endless arguments between Fred and Lamont. Where Fred was stubborn and dramatic, Donna was patient and wise, proving that love and understanding could soften even the hardest heart. She frequently found herself playing peacemaker, offering practical advice and emotional support. Despite the chaos that often surrounded the Sanford household, Donna remained composed and loyal, becoming one of the show's most stabilizing and heartfelt characters. Born in Mississippi, Lynn Hamilton built an impressive career as a respected character actress, appearing in more than 60 film and television projects. She made her film debut in the 1959 John Cassavetes movie Shadows, but it was during the late 1960s and early 1970s that her television presence truly expanded. She guest starred on popular series such as Mannix, Gunsmoke, and The Bill Cosby Show, before landing her recurring role as Donna Harris in 1972. Around the same time, Hamilton also became widely recognized for her semi-regular role as Verdie Grant Foster on the family drama The Waltons, balancing both series for several years. In 1979, she appeared in the landmark miniseries Roots, The Next Generations, further cementing her place in television history. Throughout the 1980s and 1990s, Hamilton continued working steadily, with appearances in Good Times, 227, Generations, Dangerous Women, Port Charles, and even a recurring role as Judge Fulton on The Practice. Her ability to bring warmth, dignity, and quiet strength to her characters made her a familiar and respected face on screen. Off-screen, Hamilton was married to poet and playwright Frank Jenkins for 49 years, from 1964 until his passing in 2014. Over the years, rumors circulated that she was related to her Sanford and Son co-star, LaWanda Page, due to sharing the same name as Page's younger sister. However, those rumors were later confirmed to be untrue. Number 7. LaWanda Page as Aunt Esther Anderson. Aunt Esther Anderson may have clashed endlessly with Fred Sanford, but her love for her nephew Lamont was never in doubt. On Sanford and Son, Esther was strong-willed, outspoken, and fiercely protective. As Lamont's only close relative from his mother's side, she wanted a better life for him, one free from Fred's chaos and constant scheming. Though she could be strict and deeply religious, Esther saw Lamont's potential and often defended him. In return, Lamont stood by her side whenever Fred or Grady mocked her. He even welcomed her into the Sanford home, despite Fred's loud objections. Beneath the sharp insults and fiery arguments, Aunt Esther represented loyalty, faith, and family pride. Before becoming a television icon, LaWanda Page had already built a reputation in the African-American comedy circuit during the 1960s. Inspired by pioneers like Moms Mabley, Page developed a bold, unfiltered stand-up style that pushed boundaries. Growing up in St. Louis, she was childhood friends with John Elroy Sanford, the man who would later achieve fame as Red Fox. Page initially performed a nightclub magic act before transitioning into brassy late-night comedy. Her performances were recorded on several adults-only LPs for Laugh Records, where her sharp humor found a devoted audience. After briefly stepping away from show business in the early 1970s, Foxx persuaded her to audition for his new sitcom. Despite having no formal acting experience, her explosive chemistry with Foxx quickly became one of the show's biggest highlights. Following the end of the series and its short-lived spin-off, Page continued acting, often portraying spirited, sharp-tongued matriarchs. She appeared in films such as Friday and had a recurring role on the hit 1990s sitcom Martin, introducing her talent to a new generation of viewers. On September 14, 2002, LaWanda Page passed away at the age of 81 due to complications from diabetes and a heart attack. Number 8. Whitman Mayo as Grady Wilson. Grady Wilson was one of the most delightfully eccentric characters on Sanford and Son. Known for his terrible memory, Grady often forgot people's names, including Lamont's. Whenever he asked Lamont who he was, Lamont would mischievously respond with similar-sounding names like Lucas or Lawrence, and Grady would fall for it almost every time. The running joke never got old. Easily startled and overly dramatic, Grady had a flair for shouting out oddball expressions like "good goobly goop" or "great googly moogly" whenever he was excited or shocked. And if someone gave him either good news or bad, he might burst into loud tears, blowing his nose so forcefully that Fred would warn him he might blow something important out of his head. His exaggerated reactions and nervous energy made him a scene stealer. Whitman Mayo came from a strong theater background before landing the role that would define his career. Grady was originally meant to appear only once, but audiences loved the character so much that he quickly became a regular. His chemistry with the cast, especially with Red Fox, added another comedic layer to the show's dynamic. Due to his popularity, Mayo was given his own spin-off, Grady, while Sanford and Son was still on the air. Unfortunately, the series lasted only 12 episodes before being canceled. He later returned to the original show and also appeared in the follow-up series, The Sanford Arms. Although he continued working in television and film, including small roles in The Main Event, DC Cab, and Boys and the Hood, the shadow of Grady Wilson remained closely tied to his legacy. Off-screen, Mayo married Melva Washington in 1956 in Los Angeles. Later in life, he moved to Atlanta's Collier Heights community with his third wife, Gail Mayo. On May 22, 2001, Whitman Mayo passed away from a heart attack at Grady Memorial Hospital in Atlanta. Number 9. Nathaniel Taylor as Rolo Larson. Rolo Larson brought swagger and energy to Sanford and Son. As Lamont Sanford's best friend, Rolo was smooth-talking, street-smart, and sometimes just a little shady. He had big dreams, flashy ideas, and a confidence that made him both charming and occasionally exasperating, especially when his schemes didn't quite add up. Rolo's friendship with Lamont added another layer to the show's dynamic. While Lamont often tried to think responsibly, Rolo wasn't afraid to bend the rules. Yet beneath the bravado, he was loyal and always ready to stand by his friend, making him one of the series' most colorful supporting characters. Before landing his breakout role, Nathaniel Taylor performed under the name Jitahadi and made his film debut in 1969's Listen to the Man. He appeared in an episode of The Bill Cosby Show in 1971 and had small parts in films such as Trouble Man and Ossie Davis's Black Girl. In 1972, he was cast as Rolo Larson, the role that would define his career, and remained a regular throughout the sitcom's 6-season run. Beyond Sanford and Son, Taylor appeared in the blaxploitation film Willie Dynamite and guest starred on series like Adam 12 and Harry O. His only leading film role came in 1977's Passing Through, where he portrayed a jazz musician and ex-con. When Red Fox revived his character in the 1980 sequel series Sanford, Taylor returned as Rolo, though the show lasted just 26 episodes. He later had a small role in The Hunter, Steve McQueen's final film, and appeared on The Red Fox Show in 1986 before largely stepping away from the spotlight. In 2016, Taylor made a brief on-screen return as himself in the short film Auditioning for Nathaniel, marking his final appearance. Sadly, in February 2019, he suffered a heart attack and was rushed to Ronald Reagan UCLA Medical Center. He passed away on February 27, 2019, due to complications. Number 10. Hal Williams as Officer Smitty Smith. On Sanford and Son, Officer Smitty Smith served as the calm and steady half of the neighborhood police duo. While his partner Hoppy often leaned into exaggerated humor, Smitty was the grounded counterpart, cool-headed, observant, and rarely rattled by the chaos around him. His no-nonsense attitude created a perfect comedic balance. Whenever situations spiraled out of control, especially those involving Fred Sanford's endless schemes, Smitty approached them with patience and quiet authority. He didn't overreact, didn't shout, and didn't lose focus. Instead, he handled Fred's complaints and dramatic behavior with tolerance and subtle amusement, making him a surprisingly endearing presence. Hal Williams became one of television's most recognizable everyman actors during the 1970s and 1980s. Tall, mustachioed, and naturally likable, he often portrayed decent, hard-working men navigating unpredictable circumstances. Many viewers also remember him from the popular NBC sitcom 227, where he played the husband of Marla Gibbs's character, dealing with life in a lively apartment building full of outspoken neighbors. In the 1990s, Williams collaborated on several projects with comedian Sinbad, including The Sinbad Show and the TV western The Cherokee Kid. Later, he appeared as the grandfather in the 2005 comedy film Guess Who, and continued making guest appearances on various television programs, including an episode of Kung Fu. Off-screen, Williams has been married twice and is the father of 3 children. Though decades have passed since his days as Officer Smitty, he remains one of the surviving cast members associated with the broader Sanford television universe. Now in his mid-80s, Hal Williams continues to be remembered fondly as one of classic television's steady, dependable faces, the calm in the middle of comedic chaos. Number 11. Fritzy Burr as Woman on Plane. Though her appearance on Sanford and Son was brief, the Woman on Plane left a memorable impression. Short-tempered and easily irritated, she quickly grew frustrated with Fred Sanford's over-the-top antics. With every exaggerated complaint and dramatic move Fred made, her eye rolls and exasperated sighs said it all. Unlike Fred's playful, scheming personality, she carried a no-nonsense attitude. Blunt and direct, she didn't tolerate foolishness, making the contrast between them especially funny. Even in a small role, her reactions helped heighten the humor of the scene, proving that sometimes the straight-faced character delivers the biggest laughs. Fritzy Burr enjoyed a long and varied career in entertainment. She began as a stand-up comedian and sketch performer, spending more than 2 decades sharpening her wit in live comedy shows. In 1967, she made her Broadway debut in the hit musical Funny Girl, stepping into the role of Mrs. Bryce and performing alongside Barbra Streisand. She also appeared in stage productions such as I Can Get It For You Wholesale and The Family Way, establishing herself as a dependable and versatile performer. While her film appearances were modest, Burr became a familiar face on television. Over the years, she appeared in more than 50 roles across 45 different TV series, demonstrating impressive range as a character actress. Whether in comedy or drama, she consistently brought sharp timing and believable presence to her performances. In her personal life, Burr was married to Aaron Heyman until his passing in 1995. After a long and successful career, she passed away of natural causes on January 17, 2003, in Fort Myers, Florida, at the age of 78. Number 12. Pat Morita as Ah Chu. Ah Chu was one of the most gentle and respectful characters to appear on Sanford and Son. Even when Fred Sanford pushed boundaries with his blunt remarks, Ah Chu remained calm, polite, and composed. A loyal friend to Lamont, Ah Chu brought warmth and sincerity to every scene. He was also proud of his Japanese heritage and eager to share it. In one memorable storyline, he and Fred even opened a Japanese restaurant together. A humorous but meaningful way the show explored cultural exchange and friendship. Long before becoming a household name, Pat Morita faced significant challenges growing up, yet he remained determined to pursue a career in entertainment. He didn't seriously begin performing stand-up comedy until around age 30, but his talent quickly earned him spots on variety programs nationwide. His early film work included a role in Thoroughly Modern Millie, 1967, but television soon became his strongest platform. Morita gained wider recognition when producer Gary Marshall cast him as Matsuo Arnold Takahashi, the cheerful diner owner on the long-running sitcom Happy Days. His natural charm made the character unforgettable and led to even greater opportunities. The role that ultimately defined his legacy came in 1984 when he portrayed Mr. Miyagi in The Karate Kid. As the wise and patient mentor to Daniel LaRusso, Morita delivered a performance filled with humor, heart, and emotional depth, earning him an Academy Award nomination for Best Supporting Actor. The character became one of the most beloved mentors in film history. Pat Morita passed away on November 24, 2005, at the age of 73, due to kidney failure following complications from infections. He died at his home in Las Vegas, Nevada. We just revisited Sanford and Son. Who was your favorite character? Comment below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more classic TV throwbacks. See you next time.